Welcome back to my channel, where today we journey deep into the rich and fascinating world of the George Washington quarter dollar coins, but surprisingly intriguing 1996 George Washington quarter dollar coin with the Philadelphia Mint mark, preserved in fine condition. Prepare yourself for a deep dive into a coin that has much more than face value. This is a quarter that speaks volumes if you know how to listen. The 1996 George Washington quarter marked not only the end of a quarter century, but also the last full year before the launch of one of the most influential and expansive numismatic programs in United States mint history, the 50-state quarters program, that began in 1999. But in 1996, the classic eagle-on-reverse Washington quarter was still the standard. At first glance, this coin may seem like just another everyday quarter. However, beneath the familiar portrait and shiny copper-nickel exterior lies an ocean of collector insight and unexpected potential value. Minted at the Philadelphia Mint, the 1996 B Washington quarter stands out for a number of important reasons, from design significance and mintage statistics to known error variance and unexpected market behavior. Let's first understand what this coin represents. The Washington quarter design was introduced in 1932 as a one-year commemorative to honor the 200th birthday of America's first president. But due to the popularity of the design and the historical reverence surrounding George Washington himself, the design stuck and became permanent. Sculptor John Flanagan's left-facing profile of George Washington became an icon, and it remained virtually unchanged for decades. By 1996, the coin still featured Flanagan's bust on the obverse, with the inscriptions "Liberty, in God We Trust," and the date 1996, the mint mark P can be found to the right of the ribbon on Washington's ponytail, identifying its origin at the Philadelphia Mint. The reverse side features a majestic heraldic eagle with outstretched wings, clutching a bundle of arrows, framed by olive branches. The words "United States of America, E Pluribus Unum," and quarter dollar adorn the field. Though widely circulated and produced in massive numbers, this design was on the cusp of retirement. So while 1996 didn't carry the novelty of a major design change or a low mintage, it marked the final few years of a classic American coin series, a series beloved by both veteran collectors and beginners alike. So how many of these coins were minted? The Philadelphia Mint struck a total of 925,040,000 quarters in 1996, a massive figure by any standard. This level of production means most of these coins were intended for daily commerce and saw significant circulation. That's where condition becomes a defining factor for collector interest. In fine condition, the coin still displays all its major design features, though high points may show wear. However, what sets certain 1996 B quarters apart, even in circulated grades, is not just their relative preservation, but their potential error varieties and scarcity in unsearched collections. Speaking of errors, some 1996 B quarters are known to feature misstrikes, off-center errors, and even double dies, particularly on the obverse. Although no high-profile catalog double die exists for 1996 B quarters the way we've seen with 1972 or 1995 cents, there are still minor anomalies that can drive up a coin's value considerably. For example, collectors have found 1996 B quarters with rotated dies or reverse cuts, areas where a piece of the die has broken off and left a blob-like raised area on the coin. These minting mistakes transform an otherwise common coin into something significantly rarer and more desirable. Market values for the 1996 B quarter in fine condition typically hover around face value, that is, 25 cents, due to its common circulation and high mintage. However, in uncirculated grades, particularly MS65 and higher, this coin can fetch between $5 to $25, depending on strike quality and luster. Proof-like examples, or coins with full steps and full detail, can go for even more. Notably, error coins can skyrocket in value. A 1996 B quarter with a dramatic off-center strike, for example, once sold for over $100. Die cap errors, where a coin sticks to a die and strikes several plankets, leaving a unique ghost image, can reach hundreds depending on severity and eye appeal. What truly propels the 1996 B quarter into collector circles is the role it plays as a transitional piece. It represents the tail end of an era before the modern commemorative quarter age began. Collectors who focus on Washington quarters often strive to build full sets from 1932 through 1998, the last year of the original design. Within that context, the 1996 B becomes a key date, not because it's rare, but because it's necessary. And in high-grade or error variety forms, it becomes a standout. Collectors also pursue rolls of unsearched 1996 B-quarters from bank vaults, estate sales, and coin hoards. While such rolls are increasingly difficult to find, they represent an exciting frontier for treasure hunting. A circulated roll may cost around $10 today, but one containing just a single high-grade or error coin could return tenfold in value or more. Then there's the sentimental value. Many collectors today began their journey in the mid-90s. A 1996 B-quarter may have been the first coin they noticed had a mint mark, or the first coin they ever set aside after hearing about collecting. That emotional attachment has its own kind of value and keeps demand alive in collector circles. Dealers report consistent interest in 1996 quarters in bulk, especially those that have good luster or show minimal wear. Add to that the fact that the coin is now nearly 3 decades old, and we begin to understand how even the most common quarter becomes historically important over time. For bulk buyers, coin roll hunters, and error chasers, the 1996 B-quarter represents a hidden opportunity. While it may never achieve the astronomical fame of rare 193-D or 1932S quarters, it still holds a place of increasing relevance in the numismatic world. And as more high-grade examples are pulled from circulation and enter long-term collections or grading holders, the number of fine-condition examples in raw form slowly declines, pushing scarcity upwards, even if subtly. So whether you're a seasoned collector or just now opening your eyes to the hidden potential in your pocket change, keep a lookout for the 1996 B George Washington quarter. Check that mint mark, examine its condition. Study the rim, the lettering, and the details on Washington's hair and the eagle's wings. You might just be holding a valuable piece of America's currency legacy. It may be a quiet sleeper now, but coins like the 1996 B are the ones that surprise collectors in the decades to come. The 1990 George Washington quarter dollar coin with the Denver Mint Mark D stands at a unique crossroads in numismatic history, a coin that quietly marked the shift in American coin production quality, the closing of the Cold War era, and the mounting anticipation of the modern redesigns that would take place at the end of the decade. While at first glance the 1990D quarter may seem like a high mintage, relatively common issue, there's an entire world of hidden value, collector intrigue, and subtle historical detail embedded within this 25-cent piece. What elevates this coin to one of the top 3 most interesting and potentially valuable Washington quarters isn't just a matter of condition or rarity. It's about significance, production variations, and overlooked opportunities in the numismatic marketplace. Minted at the Denver Mint, long known for its precision and consistency, the 1990D quarter is part of a large production run, but production numbers alone don't always determine collectible value. Instead, what makes this coin so fascinating to collectors is how it exists within a transitional numismatic era. This was the final decade of what many call the classic modern Washington quarter, the standard copper-nickel-clad coin with the eagle reverse and no commemorative designs. That design had been in place since 1932. And 1990 was only 8 years away from the radical transformation into the 50-state quarters program. As such, every coin from this period now functions as a snapshot of the last full generation of a consistent and iconic design. On the obverse, the 1990D quarter features John Flanagan's classic left-facing bust of George Washington, modeled after the Jean-Antoine Houdon sculpture from 1785. The word Liberty sits at the top, In God We Trust to the left, and the date 1990 anchors the bottom. To the right of Washington's neck, nestled just above the ribbon of his tied-back hair, lies the crucial D mint mark, proof of its Denver origin. The obverse design may appear simple, but for coin graders and enthusiasts, minute details in Washington's facial features, the definition in his hair, and the crispness of the lettering are all indicators of strike quality, condition, and potential value. Turning to the reverse, we find the traditional heraldic eagle with wings spread, clutching arrows in its talons, and an olive branch beneath. United States of America arcs above, with E pluribus unum directly beneath it, and quarter dollar curving along the bottom edge. By 1990, this design had been in continuous use for 58 years, and yet it retained an enduring appeal. There is something inherently dignified and strong in its composition, a reminder of American resolve and classical values. The Denver Mint struck approximately 927,638,181 of these quarters in 1990, one of the higher mintages of the decade. However, High mintage does not necessarily mean low value when you consider condition, error varieties, and collector demand. In fine condition, the coin shows moderate wear on the high points, but the major design elements remain well defined for many casual collectors. This level of wear may seem unremarkable, but for serious numismatists, fine condition serves as a baseline to hunt for higher grade examples, unique die varieties, or rare mint errors. One of the more compelling aspects of the 1990D quarter is its association with various minting anomalies. While no widely known doubled die exists in mainstream coin guides for this year, there have been reports of minor doubling visible in Liberty and In God We Trust on some 1990D quarters. These anomalies tend to be subtle, not dramatic like those found in 1955 or 1972 cents, but they can still attract strong collector interest when authenticated. Additionally, collectors have discovered a small number of 1990D quarters with off-center strikes, die chips, retained cut errors, and machine doubling. One of the most exciting finds in recent years was a 1990D quarter with a massive strike-through grease error on the obverse. In this error, a portion of the coin's obverse design appeared blurred or absent due to foreign material, often grease or debris, obstructing the die during the minting process. These strike-throughs can dramatically alter the appearance of the coin and command significant premiums in the collector market, sometimes ranging from $50 to several $100, depending on visibility, location, and aesthetic impact. Another area of collector focus is the quality of the coin's rim and reading. Weak rims and partial reading can signal issues during the blanking or striking stages of production, while minor in appearance. Such characteristics, if confirmed to be mint-caused, can attract die variety hunters and mint error specialists. For example, coins struck with misaligned dies may exhibit partial color strikes, leaving a blunt or shelf-like edge that contrasts against normal quarters. From a market value perspective, a 1990D quarter in fine condition typically commands face value or slightly more, generally around 25 to 50 cents depending on eye appeal. However, things begin to change dramatically as you move into higher grades. An MS63 example may be worth $3 to $5, while MS65 and higher examples, especially with full strike and luster, can reach $20 to $35 or more. Coins graded MS67 or higher, which are extremely difficult to find due to strike weakness and planchette quality from the era, can bring $200 or more at auction, particularly if they're slabbed by PCGS or NGC and assigned a top pop label, indicating they are among the finest known. Uncirculated rolls of 1990D quarters are also becoming increasingly difficult to locate. Collectors who bought mint rolls in the early 90s and stored them properly are now sitting on potential treasures. A single roll of 40 uncirculated 1990D quarters can sell for $20 to $40 or more depending on quality and whether they've been searched for errors. Dealers often buy them to cherry-pick potential high-grade submissions, meaning fresh rolls that haven't been touched in decades are even more valuable due to their unsearched nature. Another fascinating area of collector appeal for the 1990D quarter lies in its contextual placement within broader coin sets. Many collectors building full Washington quarter sets from 1932 to 1998 seek pristine examples from every year and mint-mark combination. 1990D is a necessary piece of that puzzle, and finding one in the highest possible grade becomes the goal. Since the Denver Mint tends to strike slightly better quality coins than Philadelphia during this era, some collectors target 1990D specifically as a benchmark for late 20th century minting standards. What adds emotional and nostalgic value to the 1990D quarter is its presence during a time of profound change in both the world and the United States. The year 1990 saw the fall of the Berlin Wall's effects ripple into Eastern Europe, the early signals of the Gulf War on the horizon, and the explosion of computer technology into homes across America. This coin circulated in vending machines, was carried in wallets, traded for lunch in schools, and forgotten in drawers, a quiet companion to everyday American life. When collectors hold a 1990D quarter, they're not just holding a piece of currency, they're holding a snapshot of an era, of a pre-digital world in transition. As time progresses and more coins from this era are pulled from circulation, hoarded, or graded, the number of quality fine condition examples will naturally decline. Environmental damage, corrosion, and general wear reduce the total population of collectible specimens. As such, Demand continues to grow slowly, but steadily among those looking to assemble complete sets, search for errors, or simply preserve pieces of recent American history. So, whether you're a roll hunter, a cherry picker, an error coin enthusiast, or a set builder, the 1990D George Washington quarter deserves your attention. It's a coin that bridges generations, a coin that sits in nearly every change jar, yet harbors potential surprises worth so much more than 25 cents. It may not look like much at first glance, but the most rewarding treasures in numismatics rarely do. If you come across one, take the time to inspect it closely. Look for those little imperfections, those die cracks, the shape of the mint mark. And remember, value is more than rarity. It's story, context, condition, and curiosity. Now, get ready, because our final spotlight is one of the most thrilling and desirable quarters from the entire Washington series, the iconic and surprisingly valuable 1983 George Washington quarter dollar coin with mint mark P. You won't want to miss this. This one is perhaps the most surprising and captivating of all, the 1983 George Washington quarter dollar coin with the Philadelphia mint mark P in fine condition. Although it might seem like just another quarter from the 1980s, this coin is revered by collectors for a number of unique and compelling reasons. From its low mintage in comparison to surrounding years, to the severe lack of mint sets in which it was preserved, the 1983 P quarter has become a standout coin with legitimate scarcity and growing value. The 1983 P quarter marks a turning point in United States mint history. The early 1980s were a time of economic restraint, and nowhere was that more evident than at the U.S. Mint. In 1982 and 1983, the Mint made the unusual decision to suspend the production of official uncirculated mint sets, a key distribution channel through which pristine examples of circulation coins were preserved and collected. This decision would have ripple effects throughout the hobby, but it especially impacted the 1983 coins, including the quarter. Without these mint sets, most 1983 P quarters entered circulation directly and were subjected to immediate wear. The result? A dramatically reduced number of high-quality specimens survived, and today, even locating a fine-condition coin that hasn't been damaged or heavily worn can be a challenge. On the obverse, the coin still features the enduring profile of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan. His face is firm and dignified, turned slightly to the left, the rendering based on the celebrated bust sculpted by Jean-Antoine Houdon. The word Liberty crowns the top of the coin, while In God We Trust rests to Washington's left. At the bottom center, the date 1983 is engraved, and to the right of the ponytail ribbon sits the mint mark P, indicating its origin at the Philadelphia Mint. It was only a few years prior, in 1980, that Philadelphia began placing a mint mark on its coins, making the P still somewhat novel to collectors at the time. The reverse, we return once again to the classic eagle design, an icon of the series since 1932. The eagle perches defiantly, wings raised, arrows clutched in its talons, with the olive branches of peace beneath. United States of America arcs across the top, followed by the Latin motto E pluribus unum, and the denomination quarter dollar firmly anchoring the lower rim. Although this design was standard and familiar, the specific execution in 1983 shows signs of strain. Many coins from this year are known for weak strikes, worn dies, and inconsistent details. That makes well-struck examples all the more desirable to collectors and graders alike. The Philadelphia Mint struck approximately 673,535,000 quarters in 1983, a sizable number, to be sure, but lower than many other years of the decade. However, the real story is in what happened to those coins after they were minted. With no uncirculated mint sets available for the year, virtually every 1983 P quarter entered commerce. There was no major saving or preservation initiative. Even the small number of souvenir sets sold at the Mint were limited in availability and not widely collected at the time. As a result, high-grade and even mid-grade coins from this year are far less common than one would expect, given the total mintage. In fine condition, the 1983 P quarter retains its core design features. The Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers may show moderate wear. The rims are likely to be complete, though flattened slightly. While this level of preservation is enough for collectors assembling circulated sets, the real challenge lies in finding uncirculated examples. PCG's and NGC population reports reveal just how rare those truly are. In MS65 and above, the 1983p quarter becomes a coin of intense collector focus. Many high-end dealers specifically mention this coin when seeking out modern key date quarters, and values rise accordingly. Error coins from 1983p are also a point of fascination. While there are no dramatic double-die varieties that have gained mainstream notoriety, several 1983p quarters have surfaced with planchette flaws, die cracks, and strike-throughs. One of the most famous and valuable errors involves a reverse die clash where ghostly impressions of the obverse features appear on the reverse of the coin. Another popular variety features a filled P mint mark where the center of the letter is obscured due to grease or debris, giving the coin a distinct look. One specific error from 1983p, a coin with an off-center strike combined with a clipped planchette, was sold in a private collector-to-collector transaction for over $400. These kinds of double errors are extremely rare, but do exist, adding even more intrigue to an already compelling issue. What's remarkable is that even in worn condition, a 1983p quarter with the right kind of error can be worth many times its face value. In terms of market pricing, a circulated 1983p quarter in fine condition can range from 50 cents to a few dollars depending on visual appeal. That might not sound like much, but it's already well above face value, a rarity for most clad quarters from the 1980s. As you move up into XF and O grades, prices rise further, but the biggest jump is seen at the MS65 level and above. An MS65 1983p quarter routinely sells for $50 to $100, and MS66 examples can command $150 to $250 or more, especially if graded by PCGS or NGC. The highest graded examples, those in MS67, are worth several $100s and are considered semi-key date coins in the modern Washington quarter series. Collectors have taken note. The 1983p quarter has earned a permanent place on almost every list of modern U.S. coins with significant value potential. It is considered a sleeper coin, one that hides in plain sight, overlooked for years until its scarcity and desirability suddenly push it into the spotlight. Coin forums and collector communities frequently highlight this quarter as one to pull from circulation or to upgrade in their albums. Dealers actively search for rolls of 1983p quarters in old collections or storage, often paying well above face value for unsearched rolls, even in circulated condition. Adding further to its collector interest is the fact that 1983 was a transitional year for the U.S. economy. The country was emerging from a deep recession, and inflation concerns had gripped the early part of the decade. People were focused on stability, not saving coins. That lack of foresight led to the current scarcity of high-quality 1983p quarters. In essence, the economic climate at the time directly contributed to the coin's rarity today. Another example of how history and numismatics are deeply intertwined. Even among seasoned collectors, the 1983p quarter represents a kind of challenge. Can you find one in a condition worthy of grading? Can you locate an error that hasn't been cataloged yet? Can you beat the odds and find a coin that escaped the heavy circulation of its peers? These are the questions that motivate treasure hunters, roll searchers, and casual collectors alike. And that motivation has pushed the 1983p from being just another quarter into becoming a true collectible of modern numismatics. If you're holding a 1983p quarter in your hand, give it a careful examination. Note the strike sharpness. Inspect the fields for damage or marks. Look at the mint mark. Is it clear and centered? Does the coin have any unusual patterns, discoloration, or inconsistencies? What you may have once considered pocket change might just be a $50 or $100 coin in disguise. That's the beauty of coins like the 1983p. They remind us that even everyday objects, passed through countless hands, can become something extraordinary under the right conditions. So as we conclude this journey through the top 3 George Washington quarter dollar coins, we leave you with a challenge. Check your change, explore those old coin jars, and revisit that dusty collection sitting untouched in your drawer. Whether it's the end-of-era allure of the 1996p, the transitional intrigue of the 1990D, or the scarcity-driven value of the 1983p, these quarters are not just coins, they're pieces of American history, waiting to be rediscovered. And if you enjoyed this deep exploration into these modern classics, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to Coins Numismatic Series for more treasure hunting adventures, historical insights, and coin values you never knew existed. Until next time, Happy collecting, and may your next quarter be one of these unforgettable gems.